Hello everyone, I'm Munib Ahmed and this is the fourth lecture of my cost accounting presentation. Well, in this video, we'll be talking about the direct costing versus the throughput costing. Well, first of all, what is direct costing? Direct costing is a costing method where only variable costs and such as uh, direct material, direct labor, and variable overheads are assigned to products. Fixed costs are treated as period expenses. This is direct costing is focused on short-term decision making. Well, now talking about the components of direct costing includes direct material. Direct material includes all the raw materials that are physically incorporated with the finished good. For example, cost of wood in furniture manufacturing organization. Well, then comes direct labor, wages paid to workers who directly contribute to the production process. For example, machine operators in a production company or uh, then comes variable overheads. Variable overheads are overhead costs that are very directly to the directly vary with the production level, such as electricity, factory supplies, maintenance costs, and fuel costs in logistic companies, etc. Well, now talking about the advantages of direct costing. First of all, direct costing is simplified cost tracking, easier for managers to direct cost trace direct costs, focusing on only on the variable costs. Well, it also provides improved decision making, helps in short term pricing decisions, even break even analysis, and even profitability analysis, cost controls. Well, fixed when fixed since fixed costs are excluded from the product costs, it highlights only the direct cost relationship between the product volume and costs. Well, that helps reduce the cost and also controlling the cost. Well, contribution to margin focus. It allows the business to focus on contribution of each product or services covering the fixed costs. Well, now talking about the limitation of direct costing. Well, direct costing ignores the fixed costs. By excluding the fixed costs from the products, direct costing can distort the uh, true cost of the product, and also it is not useful for the long-term decisions as it does not provide the complete picture of the profitability because there is no fixed costs included, and it is not compliant with the financial reporting standards that are accepted internationally. Well, now talking about the application of direct costing. Well, it helps with short-term pricing decisions as the business makes informed pricing decision, particularly when the goal is to cover variable costs and contribute to the fixed cost coverage. Uh, then comes product line analysis, allows business to determine which product contributes to covering most of the fixed costs. Then direct costing provides break-even analysis, which is essential for circulating break-even points, sales needed to cover all the costs, and making financial forecasts. Well, now talking about throughput costing. What is throughput costing? Throughput costing is the costing which focuses on maximizing the throughput by treating the only direct material costs as product costs. All other costs, including the direct labor overheads, are treated as period expenses. Well, the focus of this throughput costing is to increase the throughput rate, the rate at which business grows or generates money through sales, or especially when operating under constraints. Well, now talking about the components of throughput costing. Well, there are two components of throughput costing. Throughput contribution, which is calculated as the as revenue minus the direct material costs. It reflects the contribution of each unit sold towards the covering uh, fixed costs and generating profits. Well, then comes operating expenses. It includes all the costs that are not directly related to the production, such as wages, rents, administrative expenses, and all other fixed overheads. These are treated as period costs. Well, what is the key principle of throughput costing? Well, key principle of throughput costing is maximizing the throughput. Throughput. The primary goal is to maximize the throughput per unit constraint resource. Well, this method emphasizes on eliminating any bottlenecks in the production process, increasing the throughput and the profits. Well, now we'll talk about the throughput versus profit. Well, unlike traditional costing systems, throughput costing helps business focus on the profitability generated by their resources rather than cost reduction. Now, talking about the advantages of throughput costing, throughput costing maximizes resource utilization, encourages business to focus on improving the processes, eliminating any bottlenecks in the in the production capacity. Well, then simplicity. It is a simpler model than the traditional costing because it assigns only direct materials as costs. Enhanced profitability encourages the business to optimize the production process to generate higher profits from the same resources. Focuses on cash flow through costing throughput costing emphasizes on increasing cash flow by focusing on what generates the most revenue per unit of the material cost. Well, now talking about the limitations of throughput costing, it ignores the labor and the overhead. By excluding the labor and the product overhead from the product cost, the throughput costing may oversimplify the cost structure and ignore essential operational expenses. Well, then it is for short-term focus. Well, in the long term, there are additional overhead costs and labor costs included. That's why it is not suitable for long-term decision making. It is more suitable for the short term. Throughput costing is also not suitable for every industry. It is best suited for the environments which have with well-defined bottlenecks, such as manufacturing industries, but it is less applicable for the services industry. Applications of throughput costing. Bottleneck management. Throughput costing helps identify and focus on production, reducing the bottlenecks and improving the overall throughput. Profitability analysis prioritizes the products or the services that generate most profit relative to direct material costs. Decision making under constraints. It is especially useful in the businesses facing resource constraints, guiding decision making and maximizing throughputs. Well, here are the differences between the throughput costing and direct costing. Um, well, talking in the aspect of product cost, direct costing has variable cost, includes variable cost. On the other hand, throughput cost only includes the direct labor cost. Fixed costs are treated as period expenses in both uh, direct costing and also in throughput costing. They focus direct costing focus on contribution Margin analysis, on the other hand, throughput costing focuses on maximizing the throughput. The use case. Direct costing is used for short-term decision making and pricing. And on the other hand, throughput costing is used for bottleneck efficiency and increasing profitability. Well, which one should you choose? Throughput costing or direct costing? Well, it depends all on you. Direct costing is best for companies that need detailed variable cost insights, and it is ideal for short-term decision making and pricing or also break-even analysis. On the other hand, throughput costing is best for businesses focused on operational efficiency, particularly industries with production bottlenecks, and it is useful for determining the most profitable products that a company should focus on.